Hey there. So, if you're like me, you are in the market for a new backpack. Um, Recently, I had been looking for a pack that I could take on week plus trips. I have been using a Osprey Lumina 45 that you can see here in the shot, and that's great for me for up to about 3 days, but beyond that, I believed that I really needed something a bit larger. And I had been looking at the Aura Atmos line from Osprey just because I love my Lumina, and I also know that the Aura is really highly regarded, and that's kind of the standard for many backpackers who do longer trips. The Unlimited line, had been cost prohibitive, but there was a really great sale on Moose Jaw's website where the female versions were 35% off, and so that brought the price down to about $450 US. So now I was looking at possibly $340 or $450, only $110 price difference. And so I started looking into the Unlimited to see whether that would be worth it for me. I went ahead and decided to move forward with the Unlimited because of a few reasons. One, you are getting some newer technology with the auto lift system, hopefully better, more resistant materials, and both the Antigravity and the Airscape have convertible top lids that convert into day packs, where the Aura Atmos don't. So you're kind of getting an additional pack, and you also get this other bag that is giant. It is a travel case to put your entire bag into once it's packed and everything, so that you can go through the airport more easily without worrying about your stuff getting lost or messed up. I'll just say one thing about this. I am 5'3", or about 161 centimeters, and this bag is just really massive on me, so I'm not entirely sure why Osprey decided to design this bag this way, but this would be quite difficult for me to get through an airport with. I have my pack entirely filled, and I have this slung around. So if you are a foot taller than me, you may not have an issue, but for me, I think that this is a little awkward. I will say that with this carrying case, which I do plan to use, by the way, does have handles on two sides, so you are able to carry it that way as well. But the new Aura and Atmos also come with an integrated rain cover, which the Unlimited does also. So that was, kind of a partial factor, but you're getting the rain cover, you're getting new technology, you're getting new materials, you're getting the travel bag, you're getting the convertible top lid. So all of these things made me feel like, I'm gonna, take not a little risk here, but see what this bag is about, because it has had good reviews. I originally ordered the Airscape 68, which is here, and then I started getting nervous that maybe it was going to be too big, or I'd never used a clamshell design bag before like the Antigravity over here is, and the suspension system is, or the harness I should say, with the airspeed kind of mesh, super ventilated, was something that I'm used to with my Lumina, and I've really enjoyed using my Lumina, and so I got nervous, and so I ordered this pack too, because they are expensive, and I wanted to make sure that I was making the right decision and that I was going to have the most utilitarian and the most comfortable pack. And so I have now tried out both of these just you know, packing and unpacking them. And then also I did do a half-mile test walk with both of them just up and down my street. And I have got to say that I'm sticking with the Airscape 68. I think that overall it's a much more flexible pack and more comfortable pack, and I'll go through why a little bit here, but so I hadn't intended to do a review about these. I really was just looking for myself and what pack would be most, useful and comfortable to me, but most of the reviews that I have seen online really only show you one or the other. They don't compare the two, and so I really feel like Osprey hasn't done an amazing job of kind of sharing some of the detailed differences between the packs and why you might choose one over the other. So I'm gonna I'll say that there are differences both with the top, the front, the hip belt, and the harness. So I'm gonna walk through what those differences, as far as I can see are, and hopefully that will be helpful to you. So I will start with the anti-gravity and just really quickly say what I think, I don't know, its advantages might be, or things that I liked about it over the Airscape. So this is not the one that I'm planning to keep. It's the one that I have seen more people do reviews about. So, first I'll just say that this is a really sharp looking pack. I do think that this clamshell design is neat, and I think it looks really slick, and it's a good looking pack, so I don't think you can go wrong with it. The reason that I originally ordered the Airscape over this pack was because I was really concerned about potential zipper failure. I mentioned I hadn't used a clamshell pack before, and so I just, knowing that a zipper's on top, and if you've got rain coming down, even with a pack cover, it just concerned me. But then I started worrying about everything else, and so I ordered it anyway. With that said, I also knew that Osprey has an amazing guarantee, and so if something, if there was some kind of failure, then they'd be able to hopefully repair or replace the pack if that was an issue. So it's a great looking pack, and it also has these side straps that are this teal color, and I do like that. I like the pop of color that's on here, where with the Airscape you only have black straps, and so I feel like there is a little bit more poppiness to this, and I do like to be bright in the woods, and so so I'm a little bit bummed that that's not on the Airscape. I'm not sure why they chose to do the straps differently, but the other advantage to this pack could potentially be that this convertible day pack on the anti-gravity turns into a hip pack, and it has lumbar support. So I thought that this pack was probably a bit more comfortable than the 18-liter day pack on the Airscape. The 18-liter doesn't have any kind of support in it at all. You've got your shoulder straps and you have a very small sternum strap, but otherwise there's no lumbar support, there's no hip belt so you can tighten it against you. So it's not the most uncomfortable pack, but and I think it'll get you to where you need to go if you're doing just kind of like either a sunset or a sunrise summit hike. If you've already taken all of your stuff to camp and you just want to go on a quick jaunt, then that'll it'll work. But I did feel like this pack was a little bit more comfortable. So otherwise that's about it. I felt like otherwise the Airscape is has the advantage in every other way. So I'll just say what is the same between the two of these also are these side pockets. So you do have two zippered side pockets on both of these. You've got your ice axe attachments. You've got straps on the bottom of these packs if you want to put a sleeping pad or something external. So those are all the same. The fact that there is one hip belt pocket is the same, but they're different from each other. So we'll talk about that more in a second. But if I start just with the top here, the advantage for the Airscape is that this is a larger top. So you can just cram more stuff if you are doing a week-long or longer trip. You do have more room here, so a little bit more flexibility. Also, staying kind of on the top here, you have more flexibility if you are used to a top loading pack to kind of adjust your top lid up and down, where if you have, if you overpack, you can kind of move your straps around. On the clamshell design, you do not have that ability. So if you go under the top lid or the day pack, this is where you can store your travel bag, but otherwise, or maybe a sit pad, but otherwise you can't really put anything else here. You can't really overpack this bag in the same way. So that may or may not be an issue for you, but I know that, I want the most versatile pack for the most amount of time to be out on the trail, and also hopefully for many years, so that I'm not having to buy a larger pack or whatever. Like, I don't have any desire to just accumulate a bunch of packs, even though I will say I already have a few. But anyway, so that is kind of the difference between the top. You do get more space, and one thing, let's grab this back, that I noticed also is that with the clamshell design on the top here, where you have your front access, this zipper only goes down a few inches. So if you're like me, I keep my food on the top of the pack, just so I can grab snacks out of it during the day. And if I packed what I think that I would need for about a week-long trip, I was finding that I was kind of struggling to get this into the pack pretty easily, where the Airscape just has a massive top, opening, and so it really opens up really large, and I was able to fit, this is empty, so I'm not gonna be able to do this very well here, but I was able to fit this 20-liter pack. It's not all the way full, but I can fit it in here sideways. So sorry, a little bit awkward since it's empty. But and then you do have with this pack also a nice compression strap that I've now buried here. So you can compress all of the contents in your bag. But if you are somebody who has a bare vault, or you are packing a lot of food, you can see that you can just really get a lot more to the top. Also, on the front of the pack, just seal this up. I'm still getting used to this closure. It's a little different than on my Luna. So with the Airscape, you have two sets of straps kind of on the top of the bag. So you have the ones that connect to the top lid, and then you have some straps that go across the side of the pack if you want to, secure something that into your pockets. So this is just a little easier, I feel like, if you are interested in putting some tent poles or a sleeping pad across, you know, or your tent or whatever across the top, then you have the ability to do that with these front straps. On the anti-gravity, you are able to bring out the side straps. So you do have the same side straps that you have on the Airscape, but you don't have any front straps the same way. So, you know, technically you can do the same thing if you want to put your tent poles here or something, but it's a little bit more awkward since you're pulling the straps around, so I'm not sure how secure it would be. And then you also do lose the ability, if you've got your poles or something, or just something else taller in your pocket, then you don't really have as much. You still have some strap, but anyway, so it's just an extra set of straps that are a little bit more convenient for the front of the pack on the Airscape. So those are kind of the differences with the top and the front of the bag. Moving to the hip pocket area, got the anti-gravity here. So you do have one hip pocket for both of these packs. On the anti-gravity, the hip pocket is smaller than on the Airscape. I really like the pocket on the Airscape. It's huge. One other difference is that on the Airscape, I'll show you this in a second, you have access from the bottom and the top like you do on the opposite side here. So you have the ability to stick a water bottle. You've probably seen this on other Osprey packs where you can kind of pull it out and you don't have to go, you know, take off your pack and put it through the top of the side pocket. I will say that this material is really nice. It's really stretchy. It's stretchier than my Lumina, and you can put more than a liter of water in either of these pockets. You could probably stick 2 liters of water on this side, so one down here and then one up here, which I've done just trying to see how everything would fit. I've also put my tent poles in one of these side pockets and my hiking poles, bear spray, and a liter of water. So if you really wanted to load up, they really do stretch quite a bit. But on the Airscape, you know, you probably can't see this greatly, but the pocket is, I don't know if it's twice as big, but it's a fair bit bigger. So the zipper goes from here to here, where I think it was more like here to here on the anti-gravity. You also, on the Airscape, I mentioned, have access to the side pocket there, and then you have top access as well. So there's here and then up here, and so you can very easily get a liter. I thought that I had a liter to show you guys. Into any of these side pockets, and you can fit an entire liter in the bottoms. So let's see. I'm not sure what I did with my liter bottle. So The pockets are great on both. They just happen to be better on the Airscape. Moving around to the hip belt itself, on the Airscape, it's a more padded material and it's a more flexible material. So one thing that I discovered that I really like about the Airscape is, like, this is all smooth. There is some, you know, silicone material or anti-slip material. I'm not exactly sure, you know, what it is, but it will keep steady on you. It won't move around too much, but I really like this is like more heavily padded than the anti-gravity, and it's just a more flexible material. I have heard complaints about other Osprey packs having these very stiff hip belts, where it's just harder to move them. So you can see here that there is some smooth padding where you can kind of extend the hip belt part if you want some more coverage. But going further into the pack, you have this part of this trampoline pack, this ventilated mesh, and I found that to be, you know, just the whole thing was not as padded and not as comfortable. So, you know, just something to be aware of if you have had other Osprey packs that have been a bit stiff on you, or if you tend to bruise easily, you might choose the Airscape. So moving on to the harness, you know, or the back of the pack here, I'll say that both of these do have the 3D printed lumbar support from carbon. I'm just going to open this up. So that is this portion of the pack. So they both have a similar looking support panel there, but it is smaller on the anti-gravity. There is a more plush, I should say, support on the Airscape. So it's a little bit thicker and softer, and that might be due to the fact that because this is not got the trampoline style, I don't know if that's the harness part or the back panel or what you want to call it, but it stays closer to your body, so maybe that's why they added extra support there. Also probably because the Airscape can carry up to 65 pounds, where the anti-gravity is up to 55. So you do have different load capacities for both of these packs. So I found that the lumbar support was more comfortable. And then one other thing that I noticed just in my test walk with them is that the straps here, the shoulder straps, are more padded also on here, and they are a completely smooth material. So they are just smooth. With the anti-gravity, you have that mesh. I would say this also feels slightly less padded, but the mesh, I've noticed even on my Lumina, I have the same material, and it tends to leave depressions on my skin. I hike often with short sleeve shirts on or sleeveless shirts on, and I overheat, especially if I'm going uphill. So layers are important to me, but a lot of the times I am hiking without a shirt with sleeves on it. So on my Lumina, I have on occasion noticed some skin irritation on longer hikes where that mesh is kind of rubbing into my skin a bit. And so, I think that smooth pack is gonna work a lot better for me. And I will say I went on a 7-mile hike with it yesterday, and it was pretty dreamy with the Airscape. So I did not take the anti-gravity out on a longer hike. I just did a half a mile, but even in that time I could feel you know, these kind of pressing into my skin. Also, so this one, the anti-gravity does have this airspeed panel, and a lot of people love it. I love it on my Lumina, but you know, I did think that the Airscape panel was more comfortable overall. So you can see it doesn't have the trampoline style. There's a foamy feeling pad in here. It probably, you know, is a little bit less ventilated, but I don't feel like that took away from how this pack feels and performs. You know, I don't think that you're gonna get rid of sweat completely. In other reviews where people have reviewed the anti-gravity, they have said, you know, they didn't sweat at all, and you know, I don't buy that exactly, because I have a trampoline style on my Lumina and I sweat in it. And yeah, I feel like the Airscape was more comfortable and still well enough ventilated that I would not choose the anti-gravity over the Airscape. Since we're looking at the kind of backs here, I'll say one more difference between the packs is that the frame is made out of different materials. So with the anti-gravity, and part of why I ended up ordering it was because they talk about the pack having a blend, or the frame having a blend of aluminum and high carbon stainless steel. So I think to give it a stronger but flexible, like more flexible support. So, you know, hopefully that translates into more comfort. The Airscape is only a high carbon stainless steel frame. So you can only, and it's gray, so you can't see it as well. So that's, you know, color difference between these two, but material difference as well. And so I think that they stuck with the high carbon stainless steel because it's the stronger material, and so it doesn't have as much flex as the aluminum, but you know, I think it was more comfortable. So that's that. I'm trying to think if there are any other differences that I wanted to share with you. I don't think so. Another thing that is the same, but I'll just mention that you've probably seen in other reviews, is that these unlimited packs do have the bladder access from the outside of the pack rather than the inside of the pack, which you're probably used to seeing. So if you are a bladder person, you do kind of stick the bladder down behind the inner pack on both packs. Also, both got my zippers crossed here. This thing does have a lot of straps and zippers on it. I'm not used to that many. I have one zipper on my Lumina and no straps. It just has the top lid, and that's it. But all the bells and whistles on these packs. But what I was gonna say, both in the day pack and the hip pack on the anti-gravity, there is room for your bladder as well. So those are the big differences between these two. You know, you get more flexibility in terms of your storage and your loading in the Airscape. over the anti-gravity. So if utility is the most important, and if you're going to be doing trips in the winter time and you need probably 60 or more liters, then you're going to want to go with the Airscape. If you are confident that you do not need more than 60 liters and you don't need that flexibility and you want a really sharp looking pack, then the anti-gravity is going to be a great pack for you. Both of them, I mentioned on the anti-gravity that with this top portion here you only have like this small bit of access. Both of these packs open up completely from the bottom, so they have zippers that come all the way around, so you can load them up like a suitcase, and so that part is very easy. They also both have a compression sleeping compartment, sleeping bag compartment, or someplace where you can put a puffy jacket or something, and that works pretty well. I was actually surprised when I took my sleeping bag out of its normal compression sack and I put it in these. It did compress right down, and not as much as my compression bag, but I was also able to fit my Thermarest regular wide X-Lite pad next to my sleeping bag. So I have a 20-degree Marmot Ultra Elite 20-degree bag. So it's about 2 pounds 6 ounces, and so I was able to fit my sleeping pad and my sleeping bag right in the bottom of these packs. But I appreciate your listening and watching, and if you do have questions, I will try and answer them. I am going to be returning the anti-gravity tomorrow. I do think it's a great pack, but I think that the Airscape is an even better pack, and I'm really excited to use it, especially after my hike yesterday. I live in Maine, so I went to Acadia National Park and hiked up Cadillac Mountain, and 7 miles. The total elevation gain was around 1,600 feet up and back, and I did that hike in 3 hours, and I could feel the weight of the pack. I had 34.5 pounds in it. I was sweating. It was a humid day, but I think if you're going to be out doing some elevation gain and you've got to wear 34 pounds on your back, that this is the way to do it. It was a really comfortable pack. So thanks again, and I hope happy shopping.